Islam Moorish family, I just want to come forth and give a measure, because it seems like anytime a Moor posts up, Moors always have a certain position that they want to take on a post. I usually don't even go live, on this special level here per se, unless I'm trying to give a measure, but let me rise first and give all praise to the great God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. And we give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, honors to our Grand National Emblem, honors to our national flag, and honors to our divine constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are a living manifestation and personification of everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. Well, this will be a brief drawing, and the drawing will be concerning this special picture here, which I created with intention of giving the Moors a vision of unity. And this is how I like to depict any form of the artwork, that I basically come up with. And for those who may be able to see the recent posts on my page, you will be able to see, that this was just posted. And the thread is starting to become a little active now. So before it becomes even more active, whether now, days to come, or whatever the case may be, because Moors like to comment and give their measure, exercise their five, and we're not one to try to get in the way of a Moor expressing their opinion. But if the opinion is not conducive to the growth and the development or the uniting, then what is the purpose of the opinion? This particular measure that was brought forth, I want to give you a portion by portion breakdown for those who have hearts to sympathize and those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. As far as the naysayers, they can get some truth too if they chose. Now whether they accept it as that's on them. But what was being depicted here in this particular portion is you see the prophet standing here, right here. You see our beloved brother, his forerunner, Marcus Mosai Garvey L, standing here. Why was it necessary for me to demonstrate that? Well, we know the prophet brought both the divine and the national movement, but brother Marcus Mosai Garvey L was his forerunner. So he helped the people begin to think along the lines of nationality. He touched on divine creed, but he didn't give a grand emphasis of what divine creed is. Only to the extent to where he said that if the European had, a God that looked like them, then why shouldn't our people have one that looked like them, and so forth and so on. He even mentioned, the Almighty Allah, the God of Muhammad, a couple of different aspects, but his main focus wasn't teaching, divine creed. But nevertheless, our prophet brought a combination of nationality and divine creed. And again, being that Marcus Mosai Garvey L was his forerunner, he helped bring that national measure, and our people having a nationality, to the forefront. He also demonstrated that a people without a nationality is like a tree without roots. All of our Moorish kin is familiar with this. But he also emphasized that, we had been going from organization to organization, and to paraphrase, he was getting at that after going through those different forms of organization, that we basically would eventually come to a level to where we begin to build government. Now, our Holy Prophet said it like this. He said that he was going to leave the European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run a what? Government. Now, he didn't say that he was going to leave the European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run the European government. He said run a government. If he had intention for the Moors to run the present government, then he would say straightforward, I'm going to leave the European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run the government of the United States of America. Now let us set the record straight. We know that the Moorish Science Temple was founded to make our people better citizens. Okay, citizens at that time under the government of the United States. But he didn't intend that we remain citizens of someone else's government. He was trying to prepare us to become citizens to the extent that when we come into our own, as he said, that we will become citizens of our own through self-determination. And we must determine within ourselves that we would be a nation. Like the brother Marcus Mosai Garvey always stated, not by the will of some other man telling us such, but by our own will, basically to lift ourselves up. And he often, told the people, up you mighty race of people, and accomplish what you will, or what you might, you see. So, that being said, Moors should already be, those who are thinking more should already be, in line with the thought pattern that we're going into when we deal with this measure. And you see up here at the top, I placed a great meeting is on. Now we know that there'll be many that would have conflict with what is this flag doing here above this flag here. Now we done had this discussion right here in many threads, on my timeline. And I will say this flag, the one you see here with the 4 quadrants, the scimitar, and the 5-pointed open green star, this flag is not the flag of the Moorish Science Temple. We in the government have never said that this is the flag of the Moorish Science Temple of America. For the Moors who want to come with that argument, this is the flag for all 60 million of our people. This is the flag for all 60 million of our people. And our Holy Prophet brought this flag. He brought this flag to show the Moors the condition of what had happened to the Moorish Empire, for one. But he always flew it inverted. He always flew it inverted. I could have placed it in this document, inverted. Because we know that Morocco is still in a state of distress right now, as we speak. That's why they are now calling themselves Moroccan Americans, and so forth and so on, whatever that may be. And I gave a measure on that years ago as well. But that is neither here nor there, Moorish kin. This picture that was brought forth to bring about a unity between all that you see here. Not to make one more superior than the other, or more inferior than the other. Because regardless of what you may see when it comes to this flag, or when you see MAG, all this right here is inspired by the prophet. Unless you believe that the prophet is dead. Because if you believe that the prophet is dead, then you believe that the prophet is not working on the plane of soul right now. But I would have to beg to differ if you believe that the prophet is dead. Even in the Grand Quran, it states, do not say of those that are slain in the way of Allah that they are dead, nay, they live on, though you perceive it not. You see, with carnal eyes. So, when you deal with this droid, we know our Holy Prophet said that he would better be able to aid our people or do his work from the plane of soul. He talked about how Moorish kin was a hard-headed, stiff-necked, mean set of people who have never did anything except at the point of a sword. Moors in this era of time have came up with more, we'll say, conversations and dialogue that focuses on the division of things as opposed to those which focus on the upliftment. The government ain't going nowhere. It's here. It's on the manifest. Whether you accept that or you reject that, it ain't going nowhere. And it's already accepted. It's already known. And there's nothing criminal about the measure that's being demonstrated here. You have a right to demonstrate self-determination. And if you feel that it's something wrong with being, within your own government, and that you need to be having approval, I put it that way, or be supported by those who brought you in enslavement in the first place, then something is wrong with your thinking. This takes nothing away from what the Prophet did when he established the MST of A as a lawfully chartered organization, because he knew what he was doing. He did that for the era in time that our people may be able to be taught their nationality and divine creed. But he was preparing them. Remember, when you deal with the science, there's an age of preparation, and then there's an age of fulfillment. Well, this is the age of fulfillment. This is the age of fulfillment, Moorish kin. And in the age of fulfillment, you're dealing with the unfoldment. You're dealing with the unfoldment into what? Your own. Accept your own and be yourself. So what is being demonstrated here, as we have the great meeting is on, we already demonstrated these two portions here. Yeah, you got cherubim and seraphim on the manifest. But then you have MDNM. Why? Because the Prophet, just like he established the Moorish Science Temple, and all you got to do is go through his oral statements and you'll know what I'm talking about. He established the temple for educating the people and making them better citizens. He established his Moorish divine and national movement for the uniting of the Asiatic states. Now that's in his oral statements. For the uniting of the Asiatic states. So the focus of the Moorish divine and national movement is the uniting of the Asiatic states. Not only these 50 states that are here in what is called now the United States, but I like to call it occupied America, but also those states that deal with our people in the near and far east. These are the Asiatic states as well, but we have to deal with our house before we can deal with anything outside of our house. So the Moorish Divine and National Movement was established for the uniting of the Asiatic states. That includes you. All of them. That's what this picture represents. So if you speak out against this, you speaking out against an expression of unity among our people. You hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. The one who composed it. I'm telling you what it means. Now, if you take it as anything other than that, Moorish kin, that's because you have something in your heart. That's because you have something that you need to work on, and that's good and well. Because all of us have some lower self that we got to work on. But stop bringing your demons or your devils into the manifest and becoming a shaitan to continually divide our people and demarcate our people. Give the people the truth. And this right here basically demonstrates the measure, as it has been stated down here on the bottom, there's enough work for all of us to do. Now we're going to give it to you like this. We know that the only body that began demonstrating along the line of government is the Moorish American government. I'm talking about government for the Moors. And yes, there have been numerous groups that have come up recently in the last couple of years, but all of our Moors respectively were demonstrating their works within the temple, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now you got people talking about they this type of government, they that type of government. There can only be one government to govern a people, Moorish kin. You got many states in the so-called United States of America, but it's only supposed to be one government governing the United States of America. You know? And Moors didn't come up with the thought of demonstrating government until they heard the MAG demonstrating it so much to where they began to say, okay, this cat right here on the sun, but we don't want to accept the demonstration because my elders told me that this brother was cast out. And that also is falsehood, Moorish kin. That brother was not cast out. That brother chose to depart and do his works outside of the temple. But he loved the temple. He loved the Moors. And the Moors, I ain't even going to go into the history, you know, as far as, you know, how the brother was set up and all that type of measure there. All this stuff still going on now. You got Moors leaving the temple and these were supposed to be knowledgeable Moors, some of them, are speaking out against, you know, the temple because of what they're going through presently. Well, that's neither here nor there. We ain't here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some unity. But at the end of the day, when you come up here, government, we need that. That government does not just consist of those who are in that body now that you may not know of and those who you may know of. That government is the government that really supports all of this. That's what we're trying to get our people to see. Whether you be the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, which was civic as an organization established under Prophet, whether you be MST of A as religious organization established under the Prophet, or whether you deal with the MST of A and the Moorish Divine National Movement of America, you know, this would be the consular agent demonstration, which is actually going back to our brother Frederick Turner L., who this was actually established in honor to. We know after 1934 Moorish kin that both of these organizations here had been hijacked. We don't say that disrespectfully. Not only were they hijacked, but Act 1 was replaced. Where the Prophet was dealing with, you know, his authority and the grand body having, you know, a say-so and so forth and so on. It went from the Grand Sheikh and the chairman and the Prophet demonstrating to a moderator. This came after the Prophet. We ain't saying that to slander those who carry them title. We just giving you facts. Now, if you wear that title or you fall up under somebody that demonstrate that title, you know, we giving you facts. That is not to slander who you follow or slander your demonstration. Go and check the record. And when you check the record and come back, you'll see exactly what's being demonstrated. So, we're talking about unity here again. We got to show some tough love right now. Because we're in a trying time now. And the last thing the Moors need to be is divided among themselves. This is the last time I'm going to do a measure on this special drawing. So, again, you have the Moorish Clock of Destiny. That's what the MC of D is. We know of the works of the brother Taj Tariq. When you hear the chairman speaking about the temple, when he speak about, you know, these different fraternal and social different organizations, he's not attacking those bodies. He's saying that these are not governments. An organization is not a government. In other words, all these organizations need to come together that's proclaiming that they Moorish under government. And then you'll have some power when you say you Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Then you got some power when you say you Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you got some power when you say you Moorish American government. Then you got some power when you say Moorish Clock of Destiny. You know, a Moorish Rite. You know, a Freemasonry, you know, the Moorish American Mufti Corps. One body together. Unity. You see what I'm saying? That's what we getting at, Moorish Ken. So when you see this, don't take it the wrong way. And it's always good to ask questions about a demonstration before you assume things. In the teachings of Al-Islam, they tell you to think 5 times, you know, before you take a course of speech or action and so forth and so on. The Prophet tell us in, you know, our teachings, fix not suddenly. And there's been a lot of fixing suddenly. But the fix has not yet been solved. And the fixing suddenly is what I mean. What I'm meaning is that one has become reactionary. In other words, sooner you see something, you want to jump on it, you know what I'm talking about, and bring about some conflict, you know, and then you got a whole timeline war, a Facebook thread war. And you got these people that's looking at the movement saying, well, why would I go into that special body right there? They ain't no different than the other MBC. They acting just like me. If, you know, one is in that state, you know, that we have came up out of. So why would I want to affiliate myself with that? And they right to feel that way. And for a lot of Moors that don't know, back during the time when our prophet ascended to the plane of soul to begin his work, you know, his ministry of death, when he began to demonstrate that on the plane of things made manifest, the Moors have went mad. Everybody trying to proclaim that they was the supreme this or the grand that. We already know the history. We ain't even got to go into it. But I will say this, for those who like to attack our NOI brothers, you know, when the brother Elijah Poole Bey, who was a follower of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and the brother Marcus Mosai Garvey, when he decided to break away from the movement, he did it for one, you know, after seeing the condition that our people was in at that time. He even broke away from some of the people that was a part of his original movement. And he didn't only change, you know, his terminology from using, you know, the term more to black, but he even removed the feds. You know, in his organization, he also changed their demonstration to the Lost Found Nation of Islam. It was the Allah Temple of Islam through the brother Master Farad Muhammad, who was also sent to aid the Prophet. But that's another measure. But nevertheless, when it come down to it, the brother broke away because of the condition that the body was in. And he didn't want to associate himself with that. If you go into the FBI files, you'll see a overlap when it comes to dealing with the ATI, the Allah Temple of Islam, and the temples in Detroit. You had Temple number 4 and Temple 25. You know, these temples that were there during that time, you know, if you go through it, they were being investigated and so forth and so on. So they seen an overlap between the MST of A and the ATI. They actually seen the transformation, you know, of the ATI coming up out of that demonstration. That's why you'll see stories that have an overlap, you know, during that time. You know, the early 1930s and, you know, up around about 34, 35. And I got a lot of newspaper articles from that time. Some of them I posted, some of them I have not posted, because I feel like Moors are trying to take that and tear something up. You know, and I'd rather the unity than the disunity. You know, so the main measure goes back to when them brothers broke off, there wasn't nothing wrong with that aspect. The prophet said the Moors were going to come into their own in the year 2000. So anything that happened between 1929 on up to the year 2000, it was all spoken of and prophesied by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He stated that if the Moors weren't careful, 60 years after he was gone, they wouldn't even know that he was there. 50 to 60 years, you see. And if you count, for example, 50 years, you know, from the time of 1929, that's 1970, that's the year I was born. But we know what was going on around in the time 79 and 78 with the Moorish movement. And you go back and you backtrack a little bit, the brother R. German Bey and a couple of the other Moors had also, when Kirkman Bey received, we'll say, the support, he actually took it because it was the brother Miliel the prophet had chosen. But Kirkman Bey ended up using the funeral right demonstration to basically take full charge of the movement. The Moors that did the research know what I'm talking about. And from that point on, he began to recreate a 1934 portion. This is not to attack that brother. We giving the history. And in doing that, he created a measure that would bring about a new form of bylaws and so forth and so on, that it would be, we'll say, distinguished from the present one, because he really would have no power under that demonstration. But when he established the one he did, and all of the Moors went into support of him, because they basically defamed, a couple of the Moors went against the brother Miliel, you know, talking about his character and, you know, him being on alcohol and all this type of measure here. You know, and they used that to try to basically say, oh, this one ain't da-da-da. And all of them that wanted the brother to be in there, and all of them wasn't nothing but the same secret organizations. You know, and so they end up going behind him. And some of the Moors that went, you know, into this special path didn't go with intentions of, per se, full support. They had love for the prophet to the extent, according to my investigation, that they didn't want the people to see our people divided. So they went on, but many of the Moors, shortly after, maybe 4 to 5 years after being there, broke off when they seen that this brother, calling himself a sultan, you know, wasn't going in the same direction, you know, that the prophet had intended. You know, he was demonstrating as a moderator and so forth and so on. And so, again, he removed the Act 1 demonstration, and all you got to do is go in there. Basically, him being in control of everything. And when you go into the measure further, you'll see brothers like the brother German Bey broke off, and that brother Kirkman Bey sued him under the bylaws and things that he established that the European had acknowledged. The prophets, they don't put the European, you know, on your Moorish kin, on your brothers. Well, the brother Kirkman Bey was the one that started that demonstration. He the reason why you got Moors right now that'll sue other Moors in the court. You know, so in order for the Moors to really do the work that the prophet intended, some of the Moors broke off to do that work without being attacked, you know, by the Kirkman Bey demonstration. And for those who say, yeah, and that was not the demonstration laid down by the prophet. If it didn't come during the time that on the manifest, it came after the prophet. Facts. Facts. Check the record. And I said that to say this. The prophet set up 15 temples that are known to the people. We ain't talking about what somebody say the prophet set up. We talking about the one that's on record. And dealing with those temples, many of those temples, we can say, became hijacked as well under the 1934 portion. So the temple number 1 was no longer the temple number 1 established by the prophet. And the same can be said through all of those temples that come down to temple number 15. So when you get up into the 16, 17, 18, 19, you already know them temples right there wasn't temples that was established by the prophet. I don't care what somebody say or what, we giving you the history. Check the record if you believe I'm lying. Nothing wrong with the brothers doing what they're doing. We're just talking about our people having a clarity in mind of what took place. We're giving you the history. We ain't gonna hide it under a bushel basket just to make sure. We ain't gonna screen this demonstration for the sake of reputation and fame. We're gonna put this demonstration out there so that ones know what's going on. In the Grand Quran or the teachings of Al-Islam, it states that one that submits to the will, we are the will, because a Muslim is one who is the will, a Muslim is one who submits the will. But it has been instructed that one speak the truth even if it is against itself. How many of us can do that? But let us keep it moving. So nevertheless, all of these different measures came on the manifest, and the brother Turner L, his father, because many try to get the brother misconstrued with his father. You know what I'm saying? The brother, F. Turner L, father was the one that was loyal, to Kirkman Bay and did a lot of things that's recorded on record. His son broke away, and he came forth again with the MST, Moorish Science Temple, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of America. And he did a lot of works. That Moor is one of the Moors who came through the line, because he actually came up in the Moorish school in New Jersey. He came up in the Moorish Divine National Movement School of Unity and so forth and so on. He came up into that particular demonstration, young Moor, way back then. He was one that followed his father, which is what the average son would do. But he didn't know that much about the movement per se, other than being raised up in it. And then he was appointed, one of authority, Grand Sheik, around 1933, 1934. 3 to 4 years after the prophet was off the manifest. And that brother made a good decision in breaking away and doing what he did. But nevertheless, Jeremy Bay broke away and did what he did as well. But those brothers are depicted in the picture shaking hands. And to me, knowing the history, this is a symbol of unity between the divine and national movement, one's trying to hold on to it. And I call these two brothers, from what I see, the forerunners of our brother number 1. Being that he came through the line, he was taught, by not only Jeremy Bay, but brother I, Cook Bay, and a couple of more of the adepts, took care of the prophet's wives when they were in states of illness. First Moorish American chaplain in the United States. First to ever sit in a mayor's seat. Yeah, Swift Angel number 1. Elihu Pleasant Bay. Dr. Akinacton Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bay. If you don't honor the brother, honor his works. But fix not suddenly because somebody did this and told you that. Because if you check the record, and I talked to Moors who was around during that time when the foolery went down, those Moors say the chairman wasn't involved in it. They know because they was involved in the demonstration. And the chairman was set up because he spoke out against the grand body for being a part of certain things they wasn't supposed to be affiliated with. That talk that he had between him and R. Love L. Did they tell you that, Moorish Ken? No, they ain't gonna tell you that. And that's why they attack the Moorish American government like that. But those of you who receive that history and begin to attack the body and have no knowledge of what went on, other than what somebody else told you, then it is what it is. But never, I never expect a person that's in opposition to somebody to tell the truth, unless they just honest. And when I'm speaking, I ain't speaking from opposition. I'm speaking from a level of love, because I'm tired of the religious game. If you want to demonstrate that right there, then go pick your flag up from the dollar store or Walmart somewhere. Do that. But stop demonstrating that type of measure in the presence of our people that want the truth. That's what I'm saying. You can accept the measure for what it is, or let it alone. So this measure, again, is a measure dealing with unity. If you go on the Constitution, the Divine Constitution and bylaws of Moorish America, you see salvation, our God, unity. The hand clasp, same one that you see our brothers demonstrating in the recent post that I brought forth. And to me, again, they represented a symbolic expression of brothers trying to hold on to that Moorish divine and national movement. Our brother Frederick Turner L. did some grand works when it came to trying to take our people to an international level, when other Moors were just trying to keep it in the temple and trying to keep it secret as opposed to sacred. The prophet, that's another thing. The prophet didn't keep secrets. He was a revealer of light, not a concealer of the light. Had he been a concealer of the light, we wouldn't have never received the truth that we received in this era time, because it would have been kept in secret. Islam. So that's the drawing, Moorish kin, on this special drawing of a pictorial expression of the Moors and the unity and so forth and so on. And maybe we'll do some more measures on some other things that have been brought forth to give our Moorish kin clarity. And that way we don't have to go through a whole day of typing and tagging, in a measure and not having a drawing. And I say this, anything that I might have said in this particular live video that might have been offensive to you, that wasn't my intention to offend you. I'm just giving you the truth. When it rains, it pours. In the rain, you don't see the rain trying to determine where it's going to fall. It just falls. You get wet, you get wet. So anything that I might have said that may be offensive to you, that's not my intention, Moorish kin. I'm just giving you a measure of understanding. I'm not saying my measure of understanding is more superior to this one or that one. I'm just giving you a measure of understanding with facts to back it if you ask for it. And anything that I said that may have inspired you, to do well among your Moorish kin, to see Allah in your brother and your sister, I take no credit for that. All praise be to the great God Allah. But that being said, Moorish kin, I wish all of you well. I want to say, to those who may be in my thread that may be of the Orthodox Islamic family, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh to you, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. For those who are in the Moorish community, Islamism, those who are in the nation of Islam that may be in the post or seen the post or whatever the case may be, or see it in the future. Also, peace and love and blessings to you brothers and sisters as well. To my Hebrew family, shalom aleichem to you as well. To my Kemetic family, shema tepu, Unqua Jetsaneb, life, health, and prosperity be to you all. To those who are demonstrating the Far Eastern practices going into Hinduism and so forth and so on. Namaste to you. I don't want to leave nobody out. I'm trying to greet you all. To my family that have affiliations, in different street organizations, all is well and all is one to you, all is well. So that being said, brothers and sisters, let us build as opposed to destroy. And let us be healing on the manifest. So we say peace, love, and law, Islamism, Shemo Tepu. Gratitude to your family. We love you.